On the agenda tonight, we're going to be revisiting a recent analysis video with a new hypothesis. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So recently we had a look at Lenny Kravitz performing Fly Away. And in that particular analysis video, I did point out that in the performance, the chorus was copied and pasted, which means it's exactly the same audio over and over again. As you guys know, I welcome all questions about my videos and people's ideas of what might have caused something, what might not have caused something. And I did a video recently on the Doppler effect in order to explain that kind of thing away from the analysis video that all that was related to. But with this one, I had a message over on Patreon, and I did say in my video that we can say that Lenny was miming to a backing track with a lead vocal because of that copied and pasted vocal. He wasn't singing that. It was just the same audio file being played. Now, this person said, what if a producer or somebody involved with the post-processing of the performance and the vocal decided to cut Lenny's vocal the first time he sang it, and then for whatever reason copy and paste it over his whole performance, or at least for his choruses, but then all the rest of the performance might have been totally live, and the people watching the gig, they might have heard his live vocal all the time, but a producer has just decided that Lenny couldn't sing the chorus again as well as he did maybe the first time, and he couldn't get it anywhere close for the whole rest of the song, so he copied and pasted it over all of the choruses. So I did answer the message saying that because the original release was copied and pasted in the choruses, I thought it was just too much of a coincidence that for this live performance we had a copied and pasted vocal in all of the choruses, and it didn't really stack up to me that a producer would go and do that over somebody else's performance. But if that were the case, it would mean that Lenny was singing live for the rest of the song and just that bit has been replaced. Now, the thing that would prove that instantly would be crowd shot footage, but we don't have crowd shot footage. So in the name of objectivity, I'm going to now take this theory as the new hypothesis and get into the objective data and see what we can find. In this case, because now I'm going to revisit it, it means that I have looked at more live performances by Lenny, and I've gone all the way back to the 90s actually. And this isn't a case of Lenny Kravitz not being able to sing live or not being able to perform live. He definitely can, and he's got a great voice. But what I'm here to try and find is if that chorus was the only bit that's been copied and pasted and the rest of the vocal was live. So as always, there are links in the description below for these two performances that I'm analysing the audio from, so you can go there to watch the performances if you want to. What we have is a performance in 2019 that was in Chile, and the performance that we looked at the other night, and that's from 2023 in Paris, in France. So these two performances are 4 years apart. What I have done is take both of these vocals and put them on top of each other so that we're hearing both performances separated by 4 years at the same time. So I've also run the vocals through the pitch monitoring software, so let's have a listen.
I wish that I could fly into the sky so very high, just like a dragonfly.
So I'm going to jump in here because when we just take this back a little bit, you'll start to see, I start to see it straight away, and some people might have heard that and thought, that sounds absolutely identical. And as we know, when something sounds the same, or it might even sound identical, it doesn't always mean that it is the same audio. But what we're going to do is move the performance from 2019 over here, and I'm now going to get it calibrated for pitch so that when we start moving things like this and now adjust the timing, we now get this kind of thing. So hopefully you can see that we've now got the lines overlapping each other. And yeah, these performances being 4 years apart, there's no other explanation for overlapping lines than it being the same vocal, the same audio. So, I mean, what I am going to do, I will just move this out the way. So when I just skip forward, you'll start to see these kinds of things where we get this, what I always refer to as an echo. We're getting echoes of the performance. So when I, again, move this like this and get the pitch now lined up, we are now over the top of the lines between these two performances. Now, the thing is, these are, yeah, totally separate performances, and yeah, there might be a little bit of ambient noise, all that kind of stuff happening, even though this is the official audio from the videos, but there's still going to be people cheering and that kind of stuff. You can't really do anything about that at a live performance. But these should not match up at all. These should be totally different. So when we start looking at this kind of thing, and actually I didn't even spot this over here on the bottom left, that when we now get this in line for pitch, that this line now overlaps the other line. So yeah, we're getting this perfect replication and nothing should match up at all. As you will know if you've seen my previous analysis videos, where you've got vocals that sound identical, but the lines can look all over the place. Look at my recent video on that Eagles performance to show where Don Henley's voice sounds identical, but then you look at the pitch monitoring software, yeah, and we're looking at the voice here in hundredths of a second, you will see that it sounds identical, but the lines just don't match up and it just looks like an absolute mess. It doesn't look like this where we get echoes. So I'm just going to move things forward, and I mean, even here where we've got this part, and you know, the killer here really is pitch, because we're now lining up, you know, this pitch perfectly. So it means that this note here was hit to, you know, 0 cents 4 years apart. So yeah, I mean, it's sometimes, obviously when I put it over the top, you can see that it overlaps, but it sometimes does help to just look at the echoes that are happening, because as we scroll through, you'll start to see, you know, this kind of thing, the kind of personality of the line that is kind of following itself. And again, once we match up the pitch, there we go, perfect overlap. So, and you know, how far are we into we're only still what in the first verse of the song. So hopefully this is helping you to see that this is exactly the same audio file, which basically what I'm getting to is the hypothesis was that Lenny was singing live, but only the beginning of the chorus had been copied and pasted by a producer for all of the choruses, but all the rest of it was fully live. We can now show that he wasn't singing fully live in 2023 because it's the 2019 vocal, and I don't know when this vocal was recorded. This might have been from 2019, but it might be before that. I haven't been into, you know, that much detail of looking at all of his live performances, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if there's a lead vocal that is on a backing track that's being mimed to, if it's been used once before, I can't then say, well, it definitely wasn't used in previous years. All I can say is that there's proof that it's been used 4 years apart. So obviously people could say, well, what's to say it wasn't used 4 years earlier in, you know, 2015, and then 4 years before that in 2011. You know, that's up for people to decide for themselves. But the fact that we can now conclusively say, and yeah, as I scroll through, again, you'll see this kind of thing all the way through, that you get echoes that happen. And let me just move this one up as well. So once we line it up for pitch and then calibrate it timing wise, there we go. So now we get these perfect overlaps, and this shouldn't correspond to anything. These should be totally random. So the fact that, yeah, we get even just 1 or 2 points matching up to the 100ths of a second, that shouldn't happen. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's great because the objective data will always show you, like, if there is a vocal that is the same vocal that is being repeated, the same audio file, it will always show you the data never lies. So, I mean, it is great from that objective analysis point of view that even with another hypothesis, we use the objective data and it all comes down to the same conclusion, the same result, the same fact that this is the same vocal. And in that first video, I did state that it was a pre-recorded lead vocal. That was my judgment on what the objective data was telling us. But now we actually know that this was recorded at least 4 years ago from the performance that we looked at in 2023 to now this vocal in 2019. And yeah, the great thing is, especially when you're looking at this kind of thing where the vocal just absolutely overlaps itself and actually descends at the same rate of speed to the same 100th of a second as a performance 4 years ago, absolutely impossible to achieve that. There we go. That's now kind of put this case to bed. But I think it is important to address that point of view that it might have been a rogue producer that had just copied and pasted that beginning of the chorus across the whole song. But now we can see that the vocal has been in existence since at least 2019. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. As always, let me know what you guys think. Keep those suggestions and requests coming for future videos in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!